what's going on, you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore. You are listening to the Night Owl podcast. I want to welcome you guys back. So glad you're able to join me on here. And just been a whirlwind of thoughts, lots and lots of interactions with people, stuff that I absolutely love. Love talking to people, love learning more about life, and trying to find different ways to help people cope with the emotions that they deal with on a daily basis. And I was listening to Eric Thomas this morning because it's part of my routine, right? I wake up, I work out, I work my brain out a little bit, and then I start listening to stuff, trying to, feed my brain, keep myself motivated, and then give me other ideas of how I can, work to manage my business. So listen to Eric Thomas this morning, and he was talking about how he went on a cruise and he noticed that there were some people on the cruise that were in a wheelchair or a scooter and stuff. And he was like, yo, you know what? I realized a long time ago, I needed to make some sacrifices to live that charmed life that I've been dreaming about. So I want to talk about that real quick because I really believe that before I realized what I was doing, I started cutting things out. I started changing things about myself, the way that I do things, the way that I, go about living my life, the way that I take care of my health, stuff like that. So I started changing things on my own based on how I felt. And a lot of times you've heard about people that talk about, veganism or changing the energy that they have around them, making sure that they, cut out people from their circle to make sure that they have just good vibes around them as much as possible. Now, I want to talk about that mostly because it's almost like energy testing your life, right? Trying to pursue those things that make you feel good and then avoid those things that unnecessarily make you feel bad. Now, I'm not saying that you should live a frictionless life. You need that friction sometimes, right? And so that's why I was talking about sacrifices for a charmed life. Now, there are going to be some friction no matter what I do. Obviously, the charmed life would be that you wake up whenever you feel like it, you eat whatever you feel like. You don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about money. Everything's kind of just there. That would be a charmed life. But let's think about that. How do you get to that place? And is that even feasible? I would love to be able to wake up whenever I feel like it. But if I am actually going to run a business and change the world and lead by example and all of those things, I can't afford to just wake up whenever I feel like it. I need to wake up in plenty of time to be able to get some work done. I need to wake up in such a manner that I slept well and I woke up energized and I have enough energy to do the things that I want to accomplish that day. Bottom line is I need to be able to walk side by side with this girl for as long as I possibly can. And I mean walk, not have her take care of me if I can help it. If I can prevent, this is preventative measures, right? If I can prevent her having to wheel me around or take care of me hand and foot because, at some point I took care of her and now it's her time to take care of me. If I can make sure that I am quite well adjusted, fairly healthy, am able to cognitively function in a way that she doesn't have to really, really care for me, then she gets a chance to live her life as well. Does that make sense? I want to be able to function. I want to be able to be of use still. I was just talking to family friends yesterday. We were at a 70th birthday party and they were like, yo, seriously, your grandmother is 102 this year? And I was like, yeah, she turns 102 on Wednesday and she's still kicking ass and taking names. Like she obviously doesn't hear as well as she used to. She doesn't see as well as she used to, but you know what? She's still in charge. She still runs her house. Yes, she needs someone to stay with her, just to double check and make sure that she's okay, make sure that she doesn't absentmindedly do stuff because, yes, her memory's starting to fail her a little bit. But this woman, this phenomenal woman that I come from, she is still in charge of everything that's going on in her life. She is still very much aware of the people around her. She is in contact with a lot of relatives. Her siblings are still alive. She's trying to make sure that, she's still living her life. She's not existing still. She's living her life. She still has great conversations. She keeps up with her, her stories and stuff. She'd be watching daytime TV and she has nighttime Indian stories that she watches as well. And it's just amazing. I really love the way that she lives her life. And I want to be able to do that as well. Up until, I think I left in 2013 and that was 6-7 years ago now. And up until I left in 2013, she was still running the Fine Arts Society of Yogaville. She was still finishing up, camp work and making sure that people were taken care of. The Fine Arts Society actually does dance classes and performances throughout Virginia because her daughter is the one who teaches all the dance classes. So she was still running the business, making sure the finances were taken care of. She still makes sure that she has an income to live off of. She's not mooching off of nobody. You know what I mean? So that's the kind of life I want to leave as well. I want to be able to kick it as long as I possibly can. Yeah, I'm about to be 40 years old next year, and I'm not about to slow down anytime soon, because that's not even halfway through my life yet. I'm not even in a place where I can say, yeah, I need to slow down. I'm pushing myself too hard, because I don't feel like I'm pushing myself hard. I feel like I'm chasing my passion. I'm excited about everything that I'm doing. So it doesn't seem like work. It doesn't seem like stress. And that makes all the difference. So many people I've talked to are like, you know what? I dread going to work. I had a panic attack just thinking about work. I, was talking to someone and they just constantly put me down and make me feel like shit. And I can't imagine waking up and going to that place every day just to feel that punishment every day, because the person that's in charge of my work seems to be in a place in their life where they can't find purpose without putting someone else down. It's the only way that they feel important. So I understand that. I've been there. I don't appreciate those things, but you know what? If I hadn't been through those things, I wouldn't be able to sit here and talk to you today about how the fact that you changed the environment that you work in, change the people that are around you, change the way you eat, change the way you exercise every day, just lengthens your lifespan by so much. Is those small things that really matter. Something else that ET mentioned was the fact that, he loves fried chicken and macaroni and cheese. He loves all those, old school comfort foods that are just full of good and bad fat, full of sugar and salt, like all those things. They taste good. Yes, absolutely. But in order to enjoy those every so often, he makes sure that he lives well and in a healthy, fruitful manner every day, just so he can indulge every once in a while. He also knows that because, his family has a history of heart disease or blood pressure or cancer or any of those things, he makes sure that he limits the amount of things in his life that could trigger those tendencies in his body. So he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, because he has seen people around him that abuse those things as a coping mechanism in their life. Case in point, my mom used to take painkillers for she used to get migraines all the time. And it got to a point where obviously the more you take it, the higher your tolerance level goes, which means you still feel the pain at like 2-3 tablets of like paracetamol or Panadol or whatever it is you're taking, and it isn't as effective. So you need to take more. And that scared the hell out of me. So I stopped taking Panadol as much as possible. I started noticing why I get migraines, or why I get headaches, why I feel aches and pains. And I started preventative measure instead. I know for me personally, and it's been years and years of just observing and being in pain, but when I get to a point where I have a migraine, it's one of two things. Either it's eye strain or it's dehydration. My body does not do dehydration very well. It does not. It freaks out and it gives me a migraine. So either I need to sleep it off, or I need to take a lot of water and really like rest my body so my body can recoup. I don't drink anymore because obviously it's dehydrating my body. As much fun as it is to be buzzed and to, just to have fun that way, it was no longer a good excuse for me to have fun. I had forgotten how to have fun without having alcohol, and that became a problem for me because I don't like that feeling where I can only relax when I have alcohol in my system. So I stopped completely. It's not that I don't drink ever anymore. I do drink every once in a while, but in moderation, because I've seen how people in my family act when they get drunk. I've seen how people get used to being in this state of inebriation where they can't function, or if they don't have a good excuse to have fun and let loose without that drug in their system. It's that drug in their system. I don't smoke because it really doesn't do anything for me, but I also know that it's not pleasant to speak to someone who's a smoker. It's not pleasant to be around people who can't hold a conversation without something in their hands. It's difficult to speak to somebody who is constantly reaching for a cigarette, or constantly, having that mindset where they can't function without these things. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying you can't do it. You do you. But for me, it's very distracting. It's very difficult for me. I am used to a certain level of air quality, and I don't deal with smoke very well. I mean, I will do the best I can. I'm not about to tell people how to live their lives, but for me, my lungs need to last the rest of my life. My voice needs to last the rest of my life. My body needs to last the rest of my life. And my life, I haven't defined how old I'm supposed to be when I died. I have no idea. But you know what? I'm going to plan for about 102, 110, something like that, because look at my grandmother. She's 102 this year, and she still walks under her own strength. She still, cleans dishes, and she still cooks every now and again. Obviously, somebody needs to be around just to make sure that she's okay, because the last thing we want is for anything to happen to her. But she does all that by herself, and I want to be able to do the same damn thing. She set the bar really high, and you know what? I'll be damned if I don't reach for that goal as well. I've changed a lot of things in my life. These are the sacrifices I want for a charmed life, because at 80 years old, when my child has her own children, I want to be able to run around with the kids a little bit. I want to be able to play with the kids. I want to be able to understand and speak coherently enough where the kids can ask me questions, where I can actually pass on some of my wisdom. That's the point of having elders in the family, right? That's the point of having people around that have been around a couple of years and they know a couple of things and they can actually teach you based on experience rather than teach you based on theories you learned in a book sometime. It means the world to me to be here, to really be here in the world, contributing until my dying breath. It means something for me to be able to run around with the kids at the playground. And here I am, 30 something years older than they are, and I should be able to keep up. I should be able to give them a run for their money a little bit so they have something to look forward to. I was talking to a bunch of young kids, young relatives at this party last night, and they were like, man, I feel tired. I feel this, man, it was difficult. I had to get out of bed. I was hungover and I didn't feel so great. And it was funny listening to them because I was them. I did all of that. I did all of that when I was in my early 20s. And here they are, these same kids in that same space that I was in 20 years ago, struggling with life because they're already feeling old. I can't afford to feel old at 40. I can't afford to feel old at 60. Maybe aches and pains at 80. But you know what? In order for me to only have aches and pains at the age of 80, I need to make sure my body is strong. My body is able to heal itself. I'm able to pay attention to the aches and pains that I do get sometimes, or the indigestion that I do get, to make sure that I don't eat the same foods that cause my body indigestion, where it has to go into recovery mode, survival mode. It has to like flush everything out of my system. Like eating something and then complaining, oh my gosh, I ate out and then I had diarrhea. That's not cool, yo. That's not cool. Because that is a survival technique your body is having. It's a panic mode that your body is in, where it's trying to get rid of anything that might be in your system that might be remotely related to this thing that it's thinking is causing your body to break down. I don't want to be in that state constantly. I've done it before. I've been in those, those moments where Taco Bell was a thing. We used to go eat Taco Bell all the time. And then the next morning, like clockwork, it's going to run out your system. You'd be lucky if it's the next morning. You'd be lucky if it's not like in the next hour or so. That's going to be, it tasted good, but it's on its way out now. I don't want to be in survival mode no more. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm constantly fighting to get back to normal. I want to be normal as much as possible. And then every once in a while, if I have to, I break down and I get sick. Every now and again, if I have to, by accident, because I went to indulge myself, I went to a party or something, I ate something that wasn't all that great, then I go into survival mode. I don't want to do this every weekend. I don't want to do this every other day because I eat out all the time. I want to control the substances that go into my mouth. As it is, I can't control what I buy from the store because I don't know where it comes from. But I can make sure it's fresh fruit and vegetables as much as possible, hoping and praying that it's not from China, because I done seen all the plastic vegetables that come out of there. They've made YouTube videos about it. It's terrifying. I want to be in peak health as much as possible for the rest of my life. And so the sacrifices I need to make means I need to sleep and make sure that I get a decent amount of sleep. I need to drink plenty of water. I need to make sure that my body gets the nutrients it needs to be able to build itself back all the time, because guess what? Your skin replenishes itself within a week. Every week. Your hair replenishes itself. It's why we lose hair. You shouldn't be losing too much of it, but we lose hair. Us women, because we bleed once a month, we need to make sure we have enough iron in our bodies to maintain that status quo. A healthy life means I don't get sick every week. It means I can go out in public and hang out with people on a crowded train or a bus and stuff, and I'm not going to get sick if somebody sneezes randomly, because my immune system is that strong. I need to make sure that I work out enough so that I don't get winded every time we go out to watch the kids play, or if they ask me to play, I can join in, and I'm not gonna twist an ankle because my body isn't strong enough to handle the movements. Just because I'm pushing 40 now doesn't mean that I have the ability to slow down. I need to keep up. I need my energy level to maintain. People talk about sexual libido and all that stuff, and how, it amps up at a certain age and it revs down at a certain age. It doesn't matter. The point is, what's the point of having the libido if you can't keep up with the energy level? If you can't keep up with the strength and the stamina that you would need to have a libido in the first place? What's the point? I want to live. I want to thrive. I want to be able to keep up with all these kids that complain that they can't do it. I want to give them a run for their money. If I need to get out there and like run track for a second just to prove to you that I can and I will, because it is a mindset thing, I will. In order to build this business, I need to make some sacrifices. I need to get up before my daughter has to get up to go to school because I need to set the house up. I need to get things going. I need to teach her how to maintain her life. If she doesn't learn how to do chores right now, she's going to have a hell of a time when it comes to a point where I need to leave her at home for a little bit and she doesn't know how to fend for herself. A charmed life? Yeah, it's a hell of a dream. That's what I want, a charmed life. But in order to have that charmed life and to keep up with that charmed life, I'm going to need to make some sacrifices. And it's going to be constant sacrifices, which means it becomes a daily habit, which means, you know what? It's not such a stretch or tension anymore because I'm used to doing it every day. You ever notice that? How when you first make some changes, it's like difficult to, change the route you go to work because you moved houses maybe, and maybe you got to get up a little bit earlier because you're further away from work than you were before. And now that you have to do all that, you adjust. It's a struggle at first, but within a week or two, you kind of hit a new normal. You got a new routine. Same thing. It's not easy for me to get up and work out every day. It's easier for me to stay in bed. Trust me, it's easier. But it takes the same amount of effort to get out of bed that it does to think about all the things that you could be doing while you're staying in bed. It's still effort. It's still in your mind. So I might as well get up, get moving, get my body working, make sure my energy is, at the level that it needs to be to maintain all of the work that I want to do. And then my dreams do come true because I'm putting in effort constantly towards my dreams. So I want you to think about that. What are you doing right now that is like short-term fun? That is instant gratification? And what is it that you're doing that's going to help you last for the next 70 years? 70. Aim for 100. Aim for 100. Yes, it may not last that long, but it doesn't matter. Aim for 100. Why not? Why not put the long game in your sights? That's my goal. My goal is the long game. Yes, I would love instant gratification. That's why we all have Instagram. But right now, it's not just about instant gratification. I need to last the next 70 years. And not on machines. I don't want to be artificially alive. I don't want machines pumping air through my lungs. I don't want, a dialysis machine. And I can't predict any of that, obviously, but I can prevent some of it. I can put things in place where I know that my body can handle it as long as possible. Barring accidents, I can make sure that I have the body that is capable of regenerating itself because I eat well, because I constantly provide it with the environment it needs to be able to replenish itself without too much trouble. It's not always in survival mode. It's not always in, oh my God, I need to fix this because it's broken mode. It's enjoying itself. It's pushing itself a little bit every day. So you push the envelope a little bit every day and it becomes a new normal every day. I hope that makes sense, you guys. It's important to me. The sacrifices I'm making right now are important to me. Living in a deficit is important to me because I know what that feels like. This is not fun. Where you're always reaching for something. It's always survival mode. I just need to get to that next check. I just need to get the next check. It's not fun. But if you had to just get to that next meal, it's not fun for your body either. And that's added stress for your mind. You don't need all of that. Control it. Control what you can. Control it because you want it to last longer. Back in the day when they made, Model T Fords, the hand crank cars, how they were built? They were built to last for eons. And now everything is built to take on impact right away. So you have to replenish. You have to buy a brand new car right after. Before you could hit another car and it wouldn't budge. You might bounce off the other car and you might be a little shaken up. But you know what? There wasn't a fender bender. The fender stood because the quality of the pieces that made up that car were top notch. I remember when my mom we bought a Ford Pontiac Ford Pontiac, and it was a minivan, right? She got in a fender bender. She went around a corner. It was a blind corner, obviously, and the guy was outside of his lane. They bumped fenders. The fender fell off. There was fucking styrofoam underneath it. That's not cool, y'all. But it's built to take on as much impact as possible and keep y'all safe inside, which is great. But then you need to report that you totaled your car when you really didn't, and you need to buy a new one. I don't want to have to get to that place where I've totaled my body. I want my body to bounce back. It's about the come up and the bounce back. I want to be able to bounce back no matter what happens. I need to be able to bounce back. I need to be able to find normal again. I hope this makes sense. You got any questions, please drop them in the comments below. In the meantime, I will catch you again soon. We will talk more about this because this is major. But until then, I'll catch y'all soon.